Hi, everybody. It's me, Gigi, and welcome to the second part of this episode with the special envoy for the development of families and children, Mrs. Rossana Briceño. We will unravel the threads of her passion for the mental well being of Belizeans and explore how each of us can play a vital role in lifting those around us on their journey towards resilience. And now, I present our special envoy. Speaking from the point of view of a woman, there are a lot of these stereotypes or these standards that you have to live up to. You're expected, oh, one day you're going to grow up and be a mom. And it has to do with the culture and your cultural background and your upbringing. You have certain standards to meet. And it might seem unachievable or unattainable to some people, are not in alignment with what they want for their life. So what would you say to break free from these stereotypes and these misconceptions and embrace imperfections that ultimately make us human beings?
I've always felt education is important, and I still believe that strongly. Yes, I totally agree with what you're saying with the stereotypical beliefs and traditions that are in place. And I believe that it's traditions, cultural traditions are important to keep. But if it's going to be a detriment to our lives, to our future relationships, then it's something that needs to change. And that comes with attitude. Changing the way you see things, changing the life that you see that you don't want to be a part of. It's in you. You have the last say. You can determine if that's the life that you want. I feel that if we start implementing social programs in our schools with the curriculum, we've learned so much through ESCLAN, as the chair of ESCLAN, the former chair of ESCLAN. We have an amazing program called Engaging Men and Boys. This program is, the trainers are men.
Okay.
And the boys can relate to the men. They see them as father figures. They see them as role models. You know, and that it's okay to cry. It's okay to be sad. It's okay to talk about your emotions. It's okay to not be okay, you know? So there's so much that we have now that our young people can learn. And for me, the younger we get these children,
Right,
the better our future looks.
but I think even apart from the stigma, it's also you recognizing, hey, I need help, because sometimes you don't even know that you need help. So let's talk about some of the warning signs that could be signaling mental distress and what others can do to intervene at an early stage, because we really don't want to wait until it's too late.
I think teachers are in a good position because we see these children on a daily basis. Teachers know their children. And I give a lot of kudos to our teachers because having these children for a large part of the day, teachers get to know their children. They know when a child isn't performing at the optimal. They know when a child is not happy or something's wrong. You see the signs, they're in your face. And a lot of teachers have good training to identify red flags, these signs, you know. When you know of a child that's always outspoken and his hand is always up, all of a sudden becomes withdrawn and doesn't want to participate, there's a little red flag there. When children, you walk towards them and they're flinching, that's another red flag. You know, something's not right. And it's incredible, you know, how children can be, they're so resilient, but yet they're very open when they feel safe. And they have that confidence to speak to someone, a teacher, a principal, or a relative. They will say all their business.
Yeah.
They talk about what happened last night, who beat up who, and why mommy was crying. Now we as teachers and principals, we have a mandate to report. We have to report. If we know a child is being abused verbally, emotionally, sexually, we have to report it. Many teachers are afraid for the backlash, or they're afraid that the parents will come at them, so they bring it to the office. Now the principals now have that obligation now. So there are ways of dealing. We reach out to the parents, we reach out to social, then social would take, the social workers would take it from there.
Teachers to me, most of the time seem like heroes without capes, because right now that you're saying that, the backlash, like me, that one thing, if one adult want to come at me, I don't adult, but my fear would be the child receives a backlash and they become more abusive towards the child. So how do you go about taking those cautionary steps to properly handle that type of situation?
People will react no matter what, either good or bad. So we never know what the reaction will be. But I think if we have laws that protect our children have a right to be safe with the Convention of the Rights of the Child. And I think if more and more children know of their rights, then I feel that definitely it will be more controlled. We need to be our sisters' keepers, our brothers' keepers. We need to look out for each other. And if somebody tells me something in confidence, okay, they don't want me to share it, but if it's something that is harmful, that can affect that person, like a matter of life or death, then help needs to be sought. You need to look for help for the best interest of your friend.
Yeah.
And then tell your friend, we need to get help. I'm going to be there for you.
Yeah, it's approaching it properly. Like, you're not going to tell someone else. You'll grab your friend, honey, and tell them, let's go. We win.
Yeah.
And it comes down to, like, what the old adage says, it takes a village to raise a child. But I feel like nowadays, everyone is, like, just stuck in their own little world. All right, so we discussed the warning signs in children. We kind of touched on for mom, women, and men. But when it comes to the elderly, they're part of the vulnerable population, because they say once a man, twice a child, and some of them are stuck in the house and everyone's working nowadays. Their mental health deteriorates as well with loneliness and not being able to do the things that they would have once been able to do.
But before going to the elderly, because the elderly, there's a lot of things that can occur simultaneously with mental health. There's the onset of dementia and Alzheimer's, and I think everybody knows at some point that when we look at the science of all of this, getting older, there's brain calcification in different parts of the brain that will affect your performance, which may lead on to dementia. Well, older people, they're moody, their moods change, so you're not sure. So my granny, she's only miserable. It's not that she's miserable, she's alone.
Yeah.
She needs company. She wants to talk to somebody. Her life has changed from being this super active person to just sitting there watching TV. Right? So I guess we need to look at that. Or they're stressed and they're sad. And now they're thinking about death, because that's something that will happen to everybody at some point, and we don't want to think about it. But if you're at an age now, at an older age, your 90s, I mean, we have people in business that have lived up to 100 and something, and they're still lucid and they're still living productive lives, then wonderful. Then we have the other extreme of the neglected adults, the neglected older people. And it's sad, because at some point they were happy. They had lives, Now they're at the end of their lives, because it's a vicious cycle, a cycle of life.
And then if you're surrounded by all your younger children and your grandchildren, like, you see yourself, and then you remember, like, wow, I remember when I'm at 25, just like she. I remember when I'm at 25, just like,
they get sad, they get into depression, and sometimes that affects them. It not sometimes, it affects their mental health. And they're just hopeless and they're just waiting to die, you know? I mean, that is so sad. That's not living a good life, a happy life. I think even at the end of our lives, we should feel that love. We should feel that support from our families.
So as a wrap up to today's conversation, I'd like to, of course, thank Your Excellency, Mrs. Briceño, for being with us today and, of course, shedding light on these very important topics, because Belizeans need to know the information that's out there, that's accessible to them, the resources that are available, and the people like yourself who are there to be a voice for them. Is there anything else that you would like to say?
I think I just want to end on this note, that on a positive note, that as Belizeans, we're a very small country. It's only 410,000 of us maybe. And we know each other. If somebody doesn't know me, they know of me, or I'm related to somebody that's related to me, you know?
Yeah.
And because we're so small, we hear of all the ills, all the deaths, all the murders, all the issues that affect us, which can be a good thing, because then it gives us an opportunity to support each other, to look for help for each other, to just be aware that we have issues, but we also have help.
I think us being a small nation can be looked at twofolds, good and bad.
Yeah.
It's bad in the way that, you know, bad information can be spread very easily, but likewise, good information such as the National Suicide Prevention Plan, you know, the work that you do, that can trickle down from mouth to mouth. I know this person, I know that person, somebody from Corazal, know somebody from PG.
Yes.
Everyone is interconnected. It's just how we utilize our instruments or equipment like social media,
Right.
like mainstream media, in getting this information out. So once again, thank you so much for being here with us today and for the work that you and your office continue to do.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for watching. And if you enjoyed this discussion, don't forget to follow Ignite Limited, like, subscribe, and leave a comment to let us know what you think and if there are any topics you'd like us to touch in future episodes.